Signed, sealed, delivered.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Fantasia Monique Barrino Taylor, or simply Fantasia, born June 30th, 1984. When you think of some of the greatest female vocalists of all time based off skill alone, Fantasia may be far down that list or at the top of it, as there's really no in between. You either love her and her distinct voice for its character, power, and uniqueness, or you hate it for sometimes screeching or sounding like a Disney character. But one thing's for sure, both sides would agree that she was special, she was entertaining, and people liked her. At the end of the day, that should be enough to make a star. But an entertainer, Fantasia was naturally at heart. I'm reluctant to make this comparison, but a great example is Cardi B. The reason people liked Cardi B, especially when she first hit the scene as a rapper, was more than just how good she could rap, but her personality showed through her performances, and watching her just be who she was and unapologetic about it was inspiring. Fantasia was that when she came into the hearts of many on American Idol in 2004. In every moment you could see her personality and entertainment value, from the confidence in her voice to the energy on stage that included kicking off her shoes and performing barefoot just to be more comfortable and able to deliver a vocal performance she could be proud of. It wasn't about what it looked like or who did it this way or that way before her. She just wanted to be herself and understood the best quality we all have as humans is that none of us are just the same. Some people get that naturally, and most struggle finding that balance of when to be themselves in order to fit into societal pockets in their lives. Not Fantasia. The good, the bad, the ugly, and unfortunate were all in full public view at all points of her career, and one can even say to a fault, as it cost her opportunities, created financial struggles, burned bridges, and built some, with many of fans across the world that held her up for being a great example of triumph through the toughest adversity. And triumph she did, becoming just the second female artist to have their debut single be the #1 song in the country, her first album going double platinum, winning a Grammy Award in 2011 for Best Female Vocal Performance, and oh yeah, winning American Idol in 2004 over 80,000 auditions to become the youngest Idol winner at the time, before Jordan Sparks in 2007. Since then, it's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs as her personal life became a focal point in her story, from bankruptcy, home-wrecking rumors, custody battles, and even attempting to remove herself from life just to find peace. Fantasia wasn't Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston vocally, and she wasn't loved by everyone and suited for the role of Black Hollywood icon like Beyonce. But she was a star and had the chance to be the biggest of her generation. For these 3 reasons, that didn't happen. Let's talk about it. Salute to the real Marlon Bellamy for this request. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Fantasia is a singer and actress from High Point, North Carolina that began singing at a young age, first at 5 as a backup singer for her mom, who loved singing around the house. She comes from a music family, her first cousins Casey and JoJo, once Jodeci, and her uncles the Barrino Brothers, an R&B band back in the 70s. Her father first pushed her out there to sing in front of church audiences, and anyone that would listen to his kids all sing, and Fantasia was especially liked for her ability at such a young age, energy, and fearlessness in front of so many. But even with the talent to be serious in music, Fantasia grew rebellious and even dropped out of high school after an incident with an older, popular boy who she says did things to her against her will that she describes as changing her forever. Embarrassed and bullied after turning him in, she refused to return to school and instead roamed the streets all hours and became pregnant at just 16 years old. 3 years later, she'd get her big break, winning American Idol and changing her life forever. Stunt number 1, the glow wore off. There's this saying that goes, they build you up to tear you down, and although not quite as dramatic, I believe that's what eventually happened to Fantasia. For her, fans fell in love with how relatable she was, her personality in front of the cameras, and her underdog story, and wanted to see her win. When it's like that, it creates a momentum that can also be an illusion sooner than later, because as soon as you get too far away from what they loved you for and try new things, those same supporters turn on you, feeling you've changed on them. When Cardi B came out, she had the same effect and underdog story that propelled her through the push of fans who could relate. Now that she's rich and famous, those fans can no longer relate, and it's resulted in her not dropping an album since her debut, in fear the same that happened to Fantasia would happen to her. A regression in sales that could hurt her brand and image as one of the top female rappers stature-wise in the game. Fantasia's debut album was driven by those same American Idol viewers that propelled her to winning the competition, who wanted to see the young lady who had been through so much struggle up to that point with the unique personality and sound to finally succeed, like watching a movie and hoping the little engine really could go all the way. Only, unlike the movies, you actually controlled whether or not that engine did by you supporting the music. After she made it to platinum status with many hits from her showing on American Idol, she went double platinum worldwide, and then on album 2 she returned with the Glow Up album, far past the humble underdog, and those songs didn't resonate with her audience like on album 1. Also wasn't relatable to the non-black middle-aged fan base she won over on Idol either. Not just the songs, but her success put her in a space her core fan base didn't all relate to it, and it showed in her going gold and regressing in sales from then on. The bigger she got, the less support she got, losing the underdog edge that propelled her in the first place. Stunt number 2, needing better songwriting and promotion. Another huge reason over time Fantasia's music seemed to fall off, in my opinion, is because she didn't make memorable solo songs. Because she's an artist that has a team full of writers, it didn't always result in her receiving the best original songs that could last the test of time and weren't just a play on negative stereotypes like hood boy, baby mama, and collard greens and cornbread that attempted to relate to a certain community and not focusing on just making the greatest music possible. Fantasia's voice is big and powerful and has a lot of personality that it shouldn't be reduced to typical R&B songs or stereotypical reaches as singles that doesn't showcase her full range of vocal talent. When she began to make traditional R&B and attempt to make radio songs and conform to industry standards, she disconnected even more and placed a ceiling on her career. The difference between her and other great singers like Whitney Houston, Aretha Franklin, even Adele, is they are mostly remembered for changing the game to conform to them and not the other way around. You remember Whitney Houston for always displaying that the level she was on vocally could never be matched and never dip below that standard. Fantasia attempting to make a #1 song on 106 in Park, BET, or MTV was a mistake, as she should have focused more on bigger songs that were heartfelt and described the many struggles she was still indeed going throughout her career personally. She had material to draw from, but didn't always put those on display. Instead, left it to the tabloids to exploit and build their brands off her experiences. More songs like I Believe than traditional R&B structures like Truth Is, When I See You, and more. Even though those were some of her biggest songs, there's a difference in I Believe being the #1 song in the country and those doing what they did, along with her other music received as average R&B. Stunt number 3, personal struggles overshadowed the music. Lastly, Fantasia's constant personal issues that for a long time she either didn't deal with properly or understood how to compartmentalize got in the way of her making great music and focusing on having a successful career. We also have to remember that Fantasia was 19 years old when she became a star, 2 years removed from being a young single mother and dropping out of high school because of the trauma and bullying she experienced. But since becoming a star, she's dealt with being the breadwinner for her entire family, even going broke twice attempting to support everyone around her except herself. She almost lost her home because of it, and it scarred relationships with her father, who sued for his portrayal in her book about her life in 2006, along with multiple on and off failed public relationships, even one with a married man. One she was accused of home wrecking, leading to his divorce from his wife. Then there's 2010, when she said she sat in a closet and took a bottle of pills in attempting to go to sleep and never wake up. She was hospitalized and even gave birth the following year, 2011. All this was a distraction to her music career, not to mention being dropped by her management company and parting ways with J Records to go independent. Dealing with so much, her music career was affected multiple times, even putting her touring career on hold in 2019 to focus on her children and health. Personal struggles are sometimes what makes an artist, especially an R&B singer, but for Fantasia, they became too much of the focus and not the music that didn't always reflect that. All in all, Fantasia did more than she even expected to in a life that seemed it was headed down the wrong roads early on. Her accomplishments in music has proven she is an impressive and unique entertainer, and at times her personal struggles that made her great got in the way of her achieving her full potential. Nevertheless, a story of triumph over and over, and one we may never see quite like hers again. Salute, much respect, but for these reasons, her growth was stunted. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.